Good morning. Welcome to the Carla Marie and Anthony Show. We took yesterday off, so thank you for joining us today, Tuesday, October 25th, 2022.
My ears are still popping from the airplane.
I realized doing the podcast yesterday for this morning, I was able to talk a little slower, recut a couple things as my voice cracked, but I can't hide it here. This is live.
No.
My voice is sounding like a booty.
Yeah, I mean, why is my ear of the plane?
I don't know, maybe. Penny_NY. Thank you very much for resubscribing with Prime. We are currently 40% of the way through Hype Train or Boost Train, level 5.
I don't have the Rona, by the way.
You tested?
Yeah, I tested
Cool.
last night. I've got sneezes, coughs.
You have Weekend in Vegas.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what it's called. It's called Vegas.
I didn't really drink.
Yeah, you did. You were having those cup water margaritas.
Or the whole weekend.
Yeah, and every time you had one, you got drunk. You don't have to drink a lot. Whatever you drink to get drunk is the amount.
I wasn't normal Carla Marie in Vegas.
What does that mean?
I'm normally just drunk all the time.
When do you go to Vegas for work usually?
I know I'm drunk a lot.
Let's see. Yeah, I think I was also a little stuffed up, and that's why the flight maybe threw my sinuses off. Tacoma Swifty says, the airplane descents were bad. My sinuses, it's bumping up and down.
Come on, it's right
There we go.
Got this.
And ears had my skull feeling like it was going to pop off. I got the travel cold too. You know, I do want to go back to what I was doing during COVID when I flew. Maybe not necessarily wearing the mask on the plane anymore, but making sure that I'm super hydrated, making sure that I am taking the immunity gummies before and after, and all my travel days, I would basically take either immunity gummies if I had them available, or I would take a emergency type of little mixture. What you reading there?
Go up a little bit. Keep going. Fred the Mailman said, why is it so foggy here in New York? Is it precipitation caused by the simultaneous tears of Yankee fans?
Interesting, Fred. Seems like someone's just mad they couldn't play in the second round of the playoffs.
Honestly, I think I'd rather be there at this point.
What was that?
It's almost worse. To lose to the Astros?
No, this is, so a lot of people, I was going back and forth with our friend Jackson, who works for one of the sports stations here. And he was on Twitter, by the way, and he was saying how it's clear that the Mariners are the second best team in baseball because we lost to the Astros. But
so did the Mariners.
And on top of that, we have a whole year's worth of data to show that the Yankees were the second best team in the American League. And we still made it through. We beat Cleveland.
Yeah, Mariners fans, listen, I'm with you guys. I support the Mariners. I am a fan. However, just because you made your first playoff in 21 years doesn't mean you get to be a smug a-hole. That's for Yankee fans only.
And the Yankees, it's on the list. Let me put it on there real quick as we try to tackle this boost train. The Yankees broke our heart this weekend.
They did.
I was grumpy. I was angry. Thank you, Jen and Lisa, for pushing us over the threshold to complete the hype train or the boost train. Carla Marie, start pouring up those shots.
Wait, it's very involved today.
Okay.
But let me just say something I never thought I'd say my whole life. Let's go Phillies.
Yeah.
I'm all in on the Phillies.
Me too.
I'm a big Bryce Harper fan today. I don't even know when they play.
No, I like, what's his name? Schwarber? Am I saying his name right? Just hits massive home runs. The coolest home runs ever. But the good news is I can start pivoting over to college basketball season. That starts in about 2 weeks. I don't have to spend hours and hours watching baseball anymore. So that's it. I'm done.
It's Lindsay and Lancaster's birthday. So wait, why don't we do it with the shot?
Okay, we could do that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this week we are having a silver bullet. We picked this shot to have a Halloween theme. Silver bullets are known for killing werewolves, but we aren't sure that this one will. It might kill me, though.
I don't think it will.
It's got Green All's Gin, Johnny Walker Black Scotch, and lemon.
There was someone asking about When We Were Young festival. We will talk about that once we rip this shot. Which I did get. I actually didn't get drunk really at all during the festival. I
We
drank.
had our last drink at like 3 p.m.
And that's because we tried to drink before we got in, like get a little bit of a buzz, not
But
wasted.
I think that I like sobered up and also got a hangover all within
It's
Sunday.
possible. But one of the nights, I want to say it was Friday night, we did end up, or I at least ended up getting a little bit tipsy because we were at dinner with some friends, and one of our friends bought a round of shots for everybody. And Carla Marie and someone else at the table decided they didn't want those shots, so I took 3 shots of Fireball in like a minute.
Best decision I ever made.
And I was fine at dinner, and then I got back to the room, and I was like, whew, I need to go to sleep.
Tipsy tones. Okay, so. My stomach, it feels like my intestines are infected. Like, that's the best way to describe it. Like, I can feel the swelling in them, and there's, like, stabbing pains in them. So today is going to be a day of lettuce and water.
Okay.
And this.
Did you guys stay on the Strip? We did. We stayed at the Mirage, which was a decent hotel. I heard that they might be tearing it down soon to build a newer hotel. But we stayed at the Mirage, and then for one of the nights, we stayed at Resort World, which is a really nice hotel, brand new.
So cool.
I mean, everything about it was really,
More
really
my-
beautiful.
More my speed.
Hmm?
More my speed.
More my speed?
My speed.
Well, you need to make some more money for that to be your speed. So we stayed there because a friend was able to hook it up.
Okay.
So this has lemon, Johnny Walker, and what else?
Grinnell's gin.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Scotch and gin together. What a
Okay, but now here's the
UK
kicker.
cocktail. What you doing with that thing?
Well, I texted my cat sitter. I was like, "What is this thing on my counter?" She's like, "I don't know. I didn't put it there, but it looks like it's a lemon zester." And I was like, "Oh, I know who put it here."
Okay.
Seattle, because I saw that before going into the fridge and seeing everything. Our friends at Seattle Cocktail Club drop stuff off when we're not home. It's great. So I have to make a lemon twist. Okay. It says, I would make the lemon twist over the drink to get the most lemon juice over the drink. It tends to let a lot of zest out when you make the twist.
Oh, so when you, okay.
Did you know how to do it?
I mean, I know how to twist something.
That way, right?
I think so.
I'm gonna just show the class what I'm
Didn't
doing.
they teach you this?
No, we didn't do this part. Oh, did you
What?
see that?
No.
It shot out. Maybe I should go down. Wow,
Miss Teehee, thank you very much for resubscribing with Prime.
this is fun. Oh,
Oh,
it's
it's going
squirting
everywhere. Yeah, do this downstairs tomorrow. Or Thursday.
Right. Well, what do I do with it?
You twist it.
And put it where?
In the drink, I guess.
You're gonna drink that?
No. We'll just put it in the mixing cup or the measuring cup. Jason, I did not get to go to the Raiders game. We gave a friend of ours the tickets,
Good thing.
and he got to go enjoy it. And obviously, we were at the festival that day. Okay, you ready?
Well, now it's at the bottom of mine.
That
Were you gonna do
sounds-
happy birthday to Lindsay?
Cheers. Ooh, that is zesty.
Hold on.
That's very lemony. I like it. Oh, we were supposed to rub the lemon peel along the rim. You good, Carla Marie? All right, we can now move on with the show. You done? Hello? I thought you don't put the shot glass down until you're done with the shot.
I forgot. I put the lemon when they said that. I stopped taking my shot and I rubbed this on it. Too much lemon.
All right, moving on. So we are going to talk about the When We Were Young festival first. So You probably saw the headlines. It's also the reason that we didn't do a show on either here or the podcast yesterday. Saturday's edition of When We Were Young was canceled due to wind. Now, the thing that sucks for a lot of people is they canceled it about 30 minutes before, within the hour of the first set. So a lot of people were in line trying to get in, and they had the doors closed, obviously, because they didn't know if they were going to be able to actually have the festival. So I had a cousin who was in the line.
I didn't know it was for the first set. I think it wasn't before the first set because the first set was in. They canceled it at 10 a.m.
No, I thought it was later than that.
No, because I promise you it was 10 a.m.
Okay. But I had a cousin who was in line to get in because she wanted to get there early, get her merch and everything. And she said the line was like blocks long because obviously no one was entering the festival ground. So the line just kept getting longer. And the reason they canceled it was due to high winds. And it really was an insanely windy, dusty day in Vegas.
The dust was, we went from 400 or 300 AQI here in Seattle, bad, air from the smoke, to 500 something in Vegas. Because you'd walk outside and you were getting on the strip, getting dust in your face. You couldn't see anything. It looked like the apocalypse was coming. But so many people are like, oh, this is a little wind. We can't be outside in this. It's like, one, you'll die from the breathing it in. Two, they couldn't hang any of the speakers.
Also, I wonder what would have happened if they did try with that air quality, what the artists would have had to deal with if they're trying to sing and breathe and do all of that. The wind was absolutely insane. And I will say the first time I left the hotel, which was earlier in the day, I was like, oh, this doesn't seem that bad. But every time we left a different hotel or a different restaurant, it just got worse and worse. I mean, there were times where we would walk outside and I would feel the dust all over my face the second we walked outside. So it was rough.
I tell you what, though, if they would have put that show on, we would have been so miserable.
Oh, yeah.
In that.
And then not only is the air quality terrible,
right?
Not only is it windy, but it makes it very dangerous with all the stage setups, the tents, all of the speakers hanging from poles, all of that stuff. I mean, it would have been really, really dangerous.
So we were talking to a friend who is in a band, and we were like, so what happens? Like, why would something what is the, the conversation behind the scenes? And they said, well, a lot of times big festivals like this get insurance. They work with an insurance company. God forbid something happens. That's how they pay for injuries and whatever. What these insurance companies will say is, okay, but you are only insured up to winds of 35 miles per hour. So if there's a wind issue, you can have the show all you want. We're not covering any injuries past whatever the weather service is, 35 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So if they would have put that show on, they would have been risking everything. And then there were shows that people were sharing videos of Iowa. There was the one in the UK of where the wind blew stages over and killed people.
Yep.
And the people that were complaining, listen, I get it. It sucked. We flew there too. It was a lot of fucking money to stay there and fly there and do everything we did. I get it. But I'd rather spend an actual couple $100 or not go to a show opposed to dying.
Yeah. And I will say, I think most of the reactions, people were sad, right? It sucks because people look forward to this for a year.
Sad emo fans. It was great.
Paid a lot of money to fly oftentimes, stay in a hotel, all of that stuff. It sucked. But I'd say most people were pretty rational about the whole thing. It was very much a vibe of
we're adults.
This sucks, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, we're all adults at this point.
There were a handful of people that complained on Twitter and everyone got their money back. And there were people that's not enough. The festival needs to go do more. It's no, you don't.
What do you want them
and that
to
was
do?
6 people.
The thing that did suck is that if you bought a hotel package, I don't think you got the hotel part back. But a lot of the bands started doing small pop-ups all over Vegas. Pabst Blue Ribbon did one that I went to for a little bit. You stayed at.
Yeah, PBR did one at a place called the Sand Dollar Downtown. And what was really cool is you went from thinking you were going to see some of these bands. So it was Bayside, Thursday, and Census Fail. Mm-hmm. You were going to see them at a venue that held 75,000 people. You ended up seeing them at a venue that held 300 people, if you were lucky enough to be one of the 300 people in there.
It was balmy.
And but it was so cool because anyone who's been to anywhere in the country, old shows back in the day with up and coming bands at maybe like a VFW hall or a really small venue where you see the band itself setting up and breaking down and stuff like that. That was the vibe that you got, because like I saw a buddy from Senses Fail wrapping up his own
that
mic
was
cable
cool.
after the show, and they were all helping each other get equipment on and off the stage.
Honestly, that was the coolest part for me. I don't know those bands that much, so I was like, oh, this is cool. But I was at a point in my life where I was like, I need to go to bed. We have the show tomorrow, whatever. So I ended up leaving early. John Kamuch went to see All American Rejects at a barbecue restaurant. Waited in line for over 7 hours.
Yeah, he was there.
He loves them.
At least 6 or 7 hours.
So that was cool. Yeah, there were pop-up shows all over Vegas. I'd say overall people were you can still be sad and understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's like things like, hey, we're growing up. You can have two emotions at once. We understand that. But there were, like Anthony was saying, there was this girl I was going back and forth with on Twitter. She wasn't even there. And she tweeted something like, my friend who is a teacher who spent like all of her saved money to go to this show, or she saved up all year to go to this show, deserves more. And I was like, okay, well, what does she deserve?
Do you though?
And she was like, her favorite band hasn't made a statement. I'm like, okay.
What statement?
What do you want them to do? She was like, the fans
do you
deserve
actually talk
more.
to this person?
Back and forth. She was like, the fans deserve more. And I was like, but what do you want them to do? There's bands doing pop-ups all over. Some of them aren't going to physically be able to do this because just logistics. Like,
and there were a lot of bands that tried. I know State Champs put out a message on Twitter.
And they got shut down.
But State Champs was one of the bands that said, we tried to do something, it's just not going to work out, and I apologize.
Yeah. So then she was like, well, there's a lot of blue-collar workers there. I'm like, bitch, I spent all my money I shouldn't have spent to be here, too. I get it. But there were just so many people who were like, oh, I need something to complain about today, so I'm going to complain.
Yeah.
But overall, it was awesome. Next year's lineup looks sick.
Yeah. And we just found out they're doing a similar show in Atlantic City.
Oh, yeah. Well, I told you about that last week.
Oh, I wasn't paying attention, I guess.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day weekend.
Paramore, Blink-182. Looks like a pretty stellar
Asbury
lineup.
Park.
No, Atlantic City.
Since when?
Since the flyer that Vicky sent. Vicky, I just saw Vicky in the chat. Ricky sent us.
Oh, it was supposed to be Asbury Park.
No, Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Oh, God, that's so far.
It's called Adjacent. Is that what the thing was? Oh, Bamboozle is also going to Atlantic City?
Well, I'm got to grow an inch, a foot. I couldn't see anything. That was the worst part, I'll be honest. The thing that did suck is when I would see photos posted from the When We Were Young Fest account, I was like, that's what Haley looked like? Mm-hmm. Like, I couldn't, and this was one thing that did suck is because it was still windy on Sunday, they didn't have the big screens raised.
It seemed like they were lower than they normally are at any other
like
festival.
At stage level.
Yeah.
So I truly saw nothing but about 30 seconds of Avril's set when Anthony lifted me up to see. Which Avril was my favorite. And I did not see that coming.
So I liked Avril's set a lot. She did a cover of All the Small Things with the guys from All Time Low.
That was cool.
I've never, out of all the shows I've been to, I thought up until this moment that the most in unison I saw a crowd was during the White Stripes when they did Seven Nation Army. Because it's a song that like everybody knows. The whole place went nuts at the same time singing along, right? All the words.
Yeah.
That was taken down, in my mind at least, as the most in unison I have seen a crowd. Because it was a much larger crowd. When Avril started singing All the Small Things and everyone started singing along, it was, I would say, 40,000 people.
More than that.
Screaming every single word in unison perfectly.
It was definitely more than that. Because you have to think that festival held 75,000. You have to say more than 40,000 were at Avril. Well, my only complaint is the lines were so long.
So, yeah, okay, let's start with the good things. The festival itself was great, and I think it was as advertised.
Yes.
And
the performances were incredible.
Yeah.
Like, just the sound, everything. It really was great, and you got the best of every artist because they did have such a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. There wasn't like any of this, like, I'm going to riff for like 2 minutes and I'm going to have a conversation with the crowd. No, they just fucking performed.
I think, in my opinion, Taking Back Sunday probably had the best overall set.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I know you're not a huge fan of them, but Senses Fail We saw them pretty early in the day. You have a video of me jumping around like a crazy person. They did a great job of every song was a hit. And Buddy, who's the lead singer, didn't even stop down and talk a lot. He even said, he's like, I'm not talking a lot. I got 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We're just playing music.
And there were people that were complaining about, my Chem didn't even talk in between. I'm like, they didn't have time.
Yeah. My Chem did a lot of weird stuff in between. They just
I realized
made a
this
bunch of
weekend
noise.
that I am the only My Chem songs I know are the only ones that are on the radio. And I know nothing about the band other than the songs that are on the radio. And I had no idea what was happening.
I knew every single song that they played. And then a couple of the bands, like I think Jimmy Eat World did it at the end. Census Fail did a little medley of like other rock songs, just like
cool.
really well-known songs.
They did. I think I was drunk until Jimmy Eat World was done.
Okay. But the bands themselves get an A+. A++, like not only as advertised, better than advertised.
I agree.
Is how I felt about the actual performances at When We Were Young.
Yeah.
The setup could have been better. I think getting in and out was actually pretty easy for a festival that size in the middle of a big city. The only issues that I think we had were the way they positioned everything. Like they added bathroom stalls, but they added them next to bathrooms, so it didn't make the line any better.
It did a little bit because people were like, "Oh, there's porta potties right there. I'll go there." But there should have been bathrooms in different spots to disperse, like you were saying. Food line, pretty long. Merch, we didn't even waste our time. There was like a 2-hour line for merch, and I was like, I got things to do.
And if you've ever been to a Warped Tour or a Bamboozle, they usually have this.
I didn't realize that was you.
I don't know what are you talking about?
Mrs. Work is Jess, who we met as we were walking in. I have to post the picture of us. She had been DMing us the day of because she thought her friend was about to be scammed out of a ticket. So I was like, if I find anyone, I'll let you know. Like we were back and forth all morning on Sunday. And then we happened to be there was one person in between us in line. It was wild.
So Marijuana just said in the chat that Psycho Las Vegas is a metal festival. They do it Resorts World, and they should move it there. I feel like it's got to be the same area.
It has to be.
Right? It was actually just north of Circus. So
Resorts World is turning into a Hallmark Christmas village right now, apparently.
Oh, that spot.
I bet.
That makes sense. Yeah, there was a large cleared area. But yeah, I think next year when they do it, because they are having another festival next year, although next year is one day. Did you know that?
As of now.
I mean, it says it's only one day, but they need to figure out the on-site crowd management a little better. If they knocked that out, it would have been great. And the thing that was really different from a Warped Tour or a Bamboozle is normally those concerts have such a large footprint, like larger than what we saw this weekend. And because of that, they can have more tents, like more merch tents for specific bands. They had one tent where they basically had 4 merch areas. 3 of them were for When We Were Young festival merch. One of them was a gigantic tent that had all of the band merch there. So even if you wanted to get a band that wasn't a headliner, you still had to wait in line for like an hour just to get to the front of that merch tent. Now, is merch the most important thing at a festival? No, but it's important to some people.
Part of me is glad we didn't, because that's $90 I didn't need to spend.
Yeah, I kept trying to think of it like if I had an original, I don't know, Coachella t-shirt, right, from the first weekend they ever did Coachella.
Yeah,
would
but
that be cool?
You're not gonna feel that regret for like 30 years.
Yeah, that's true.
You can buy it on Poshmark.
I do have the ticket stub.
I know we did get ticket stubs, which is cool.
We didn't get digital tickets, so we actually have the first ticket. If this becomes like a decades-long festival, what would they do in 20 years? Like, who would be performing there?
No one that I care about.
I know, like Nessa Barrett was there this year.
Yeah,
Huddy was there this year.
I know. 5 Seconds of Summer.
5 Sauce would count.
But they would have gotten eaten alive at that festival.
I don't think so. I think people would have had fun.
What? Can I see the list? Hold on. Wait, there's something on there I didn't even know about. Before we get to When We Were Young, we need to talk about the unsolicited advice that I was getting this weekend from women about children.
Huh?
Okay. So
this is still about the festival?
Yeah.
Or Vegas? Okay.
We were going.
Oh, 5 Sauce is there next year, Carla Marie.
I thought that's why they were in my head. I think they were. Well, good luck, guys, because it's not going to go well.
I think they're going to be
I
really
love
well
them.
received.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The crowd there was actually just the nicest crowd of concert goers I think I've ever seen.
Okay, let me explain this. Here's why I don't think they'll be well received is the emo fan base is male and female. Like, every show you go to, it's male and female. You're going to go to the five-star stage, and it's only going to be females and their boyfriends who were dragged there. And
I'd go on my own.
Yes. In your American Apparel underwear.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we were going to dinner on Saturday night, and we stopped at the convenience store in our hotel I got Cutwater, you got a Truly, whatever. So, we're standing there, and I'm about to buy it, and the woman working behind the register was like, "Can I see your ID?" I was like, "Absolutely." She's like, "Because there's no way you're older than 25." I was like, "Keep going." And she was like, 30? I was like, "Keep going." She's like, 32? And I was like, "Nope." And I give her my ID. She's like, "Wow, 34. Do you work out?" I said, "Yes, actually." She's like, "Oh, man, you do not look 34. And I was like, "Well, thank you." And she's like, "Do you have kids?" I was like, "Nope." She's like, "That's why." And I was like, "Cool." She's like, "Yeah, having kids, they ruin your body. Like, that's it." And I was like, "So I've heard." She goes, "Especially if you have them after 34. And I was like, "Cool." And we walked away. I was like, "Cheers."
She was an interesting woman. Listen, you're in Vegas. There's a lot of interesting people that you're going to run across.
She's like, I had my son at your age. I won't even tell you how old he is now. And I was like, "Okay." And as I was walking away, she's like, "He's 21. I was like, "Okay." So then I'm waiting in line for the porta potty with these women. And they're like, "Oh my God, this is the only thing that sucks about being here. I really got to pee." And I was like, "Listen, I was going to let them go in front of me, but I'm like, I've been waiting here for so long. I got to pee too." And they were like, "This is what's, I haven't been to a show like this in years. Like, since I had kids. I had a kid last year. My vagina sucks. My body sucks. My bladder sucks." And I'm like, "Wow. Yeah, yeah." And they're like, I can't hold in my pee for more than whatever." And I was like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Let's see. A red-handed beast said a coworker told me I looked like I was in my 20s recently. And I was like, "Thank you. Skincare and genetics." I'm 33, she says. So right there with you, Carla Marie.
And I feel like there was another thing that I don't recall at the moment, but I was like, "What?"
Yeah, and I agree with Corinne in the chat who said she seems like she's filled with regret and is pushing it on you. And I think that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they regret their choices and their path in life, they try to bring everyone else down with them.
Yeah.
Kyle
King said, "Oh, hey, everyone."
Hey, Kyle King. You can suck it, you and your Houston Astros.
Don't even let him talk.
I absolutely love Kyle.
Ban him.
But today,
for a few months.
Yeah, I might need to.
Weeks.
Depending on what he says in this chat, I'll give him one gloating message.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. That's your one. There's your one gloating message. I'll mute your ass real quick. I'm still in salty Yankees mode right now.
Actually, speaking of salty Yankees, before we get to our blackjack champs, Anthony is no longer allowed.
I was the saltiest over the weekend.
I have never seen anyone act like this. It was truly, I would say it was an actual turnoff. He was like, in the middle of the game, "Fuck the Yankees. They suck.
They stink.
I hate this team." And I was like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "I hate them." And I was like, "You, sir, are not allowed to wear any Yankee. You are. I don't care. You need to stick with your team, who you've been a fan of for almost 40 years."
No, Carla Marie, you don't understand. You don't understand.
I have never, ever, ever in my life said the Yankees suck.
I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down for everybody to explain
why
I did
cry.
that. I'm gonna explain why I did that. You ever go through a breakup and you keep telling yourself that you hate your ex, and you keep telling everyone that's within earshot, "Oh, I hate them. They were trash." Blah blah blah. But secretly, you're still in love.
But you know,
That's how I felt throughout the last 3 games of this series. I was so heartbroken by the Yankees that I just had to keep telling myself I hated them to make it easier on me.
No.
It still hurt. Listen, you might be dramatic, but no one is as dramatic as me, because I had pre-planned my shirt that I was going to wear to the airport.
Did you rip it?
No. It's actually a shirt that Carla Marie's old teacher or gym teacher or someone used to. Who sent this shirt to us? This is my I'm dramatic. My baseball is dead to me shirt, which I pre-packed.
My English teacher, Mr. Constantino.
To wear this shirt at the airport to show everyone that I hated baseball and baseball was dead to me. That's how dramatic I am.
Big Fly is
Which
the company.
really,
check them out.
based on the concert I went to this weekend, really it all comes
Thank you,
together.
Melissa. Just because they suck in the playoffs one year doesn't mean you give up on your team.
I didn't
You're
give
a
up
fair
on my
weather
team.
fan. I don't even want to hear anything you have to say. I officially am the king/queen of sports on this show.
Yeah.
You are a fair weather fan. I'm going to make sure anytime I get to meet any of the Yankees or DM them, because I follow all of them, I'm going to say my boyfriend thinks he's a Yankee fan because he went to Derek Jeter's last game. But guess what? He doesn't care about you guys. He said, F this guy, F that guy, you suck at this, you suck at that. What are we paying all your money for? Like we're paying you? He's out.
Who's out, me?
You're out of here.
Listen, I have cursed the Yankees more than probably. Actually, I've cursed Seton Hall basketball a lot because of the emotional.
I don't care about them. They're stupid.
Toil, the emotional energy.
I couldn't believe it.
Let's see.
Even when my dad yells, he's not that aggressive.
Kyle King said the Yankees had a very historic postseason until they met us. They never had been swept in the ALCS, and they struck out 50 times. History. Listen, he's right.
They just wanted to be in Vegas at we were young.
Yeah, but they didn't even make it. Those dummies.
Yo, I bet you Harrison Bader, he loves the When We Were Young festival. I don't know. He's like 12, maybe not.
And the Kyle King says you should switch to being an Astros fan. There's plenty of room on the bandwagon. There is no
bandwagon.
There's no chance that I could end up. I mean, I don't like the Phillies. I don't like cheering on teams from Philadelphia.
Who is a bandwagon Astros fan?
But I will cheer for.
People are telling you to mute it.
I will cheer for the Phillies.
Yeah.
In this this World Series.
I picture the Astros bandwagon, like the same truck that goes to campsites and sucks out the poop from the RV thing. That's the bandwagon.
I'm trying to think if there was a team that I would root for, where I would root for the Astros over that team. And it's maybe only the Red Sox. I think if the ALCS was the Red Sox and the Astros, I would begrudgingly want the Astros to win that series, but really I would be cheering the weather. Just cancel every game. Wind,
When We Were Young festival this
wind,
year.
rain, whatever. I would be cheering for the weather.
Okay.
But that's really only it.
Trash Tros. Ooh, that's a good one. I never heard it.
And then the World Series doesn't start till when?
Friday.
It's like a whole week?
That's what Jen or Lisa said.
Damn.
Jen and Lisa need to change their name to just their first name.
Wow, Friday. And then Shannon FC said, can we talk about this coming Sunday? It's Giants versus the Seahawks here in Seattle. Carla Marie, are you going to be there?
I actually have a call today at noon, so I wasn't supposed to be there. This was actually my one game off this season, just ironically how the schedule worked out. But the social media team is having me come to the game on Sunday. I don't officially know what I'm doing until I talk to them at noon, but it seems like I'm going to be on the Seahawks Instagram story, kind of doing a behind the scenes of all the different fan experiences you can have at the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pumped. I get to be there when the Giants are there.
Yeah, this all came through over the weekend.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. Because that was actually going to be the one game you weren't going to go to.
That's what I just said.
I know. It's just kind of crazy how it all worked out. There's a couple points here in the chat that I want to get to. God bless you, Carla Marie. You good? Yeah. Okay. Mikey0875 said, the only reason I want Houston to win is for Dusty Baker. And I will say...
Is that the coach?
That is the coach.
Well, then you know what? Maybe he shouldn't have been a cheater.
Been in the league for 30 years in some capacity.
So he knows the rules.
No, he wasn't part of the cheating team.
He wasn't there?
No. He replaced the cheating coach.
Well, he should have went to a better team then.
I will say, if the Astros win, that will be the silver lining. Dusty Baker seems like just a genuinely kind human. And he's been around for so long. Everyone has good things to say about Dusty Baker. So I will be happy for Dusty, not the Astros. Next thing in the chat that I wanted to talk about was from Jason, who said, do you go off and yell at the Raiders like that, Anthony? And the answer is no. The answer is no, because love is an interesting thing. The teams that I am the most vicious to while I watch are the Seton Hall Pirates and the Yankees. Now, I can watch a Yankees game in the middle of the season and they can lose, and it's annoying, but it doesn't impact my day at all. Playoff baseball is different. It's hard to get that kind of emotion for 162 games, right? Like, it's not feasible. Playoff baseball, I'm an absolute wreck. When people invite me to go out and watch Yankee games, I tell them, like, you don't want that. Unless there's other, like, just depressed Yankee fans there, you're not going to want to see them. I'm going to look like a crazy person. Seton Hall basketball, that's my most emotional game.
Okay.
Like, regular season games will impact my mood.
I think it physically makes the physicality or the locality actually makes a difference. Like, how many Seton Hall games did you go to? You lived at the campus. You lived and breathed Seton Hall. It makes sense. You grew up in New Jersey going to Yankee games and being there. You didn't grow up going to Raiders games.
Correct.
I think that I'm not saying you can't be a diehard fan and live in a different city. Don't at me. I'm just saying that makes the difference for you.
It also depends on the type of loss. I agree with Jen.
Yeah.
Like the Yankees.
I remember in 8th grade crying when the Yankees lost to the Red Sox.
I think the problem with the Yankees Astros series for me was that they didn't even give us one game that was enjoyable to watch.
No.
They were all terrible, hitless, strikeout-filled games. 50 strikeouts in 4 games.
But
is
Anthony
insane.
said on what day was it that they finally lost? Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
He said, I hope they lose.
I don't think I said I think I said I'm glad that they lost. So
no,
I don't
before
have to put up with
you said I don't even
team
want
anymore.
them to win. I hope they lose because I know they're not going to actually win the whole series. I don't want them to pretend like we're going to win.
That does check out. That is something that I would say. Once they got down 3-0 over, just get out. I don't want to be watching these terrible games anymore. How many times can I watch Josh Donaldson and Matt Carpenter strike out?
You shouldn't be allowed to go back to Yankee Stadium. You, Jen, and Lisa, you're all banned.
That's fine. You know what? I'll be banned. I will put myself on Yankee suspension until next April.
No, I'm going to talk to
6 months.
They're going to be signs hanging up outside that say, don't let them in.
Well, I've been to a Yankees game in 3 years, so I think it'll be all right. Next thing on the list, Blackjack Champions. Carla Marie, would you like to talk about your impressive winnings?
I won $15.
Well, then you tipped 5, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you really walked away with $10.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people will be like, oh, I would have kept playing, blah, blah, blah. I only won. I tipped a lot while I was playing. I don't know. I think I was just drunk. I walked away with $25 after our first night of gambling.
What day did we
And that was Thursday night. And I'm the kind of guy, if I can play for about 40 minutes to an hour and leave even or up even a couple bucks, fun. I'm good. I got my exhilaration.
I hate losing a single dollar, so that is a win to me.
And I've left the casinos before down like $300.
We heard about a guy who lost $70,000 one night this year. When we were there was a guy that lost $70,000.
Yeah. Angela said, "Oh, you're back. I checked out. You lost me with all the sports talk." There was a lot of sports talk there. Yeah. But yeah, Carla Marie had $10. I had 25. We played some blackjack, and that was the only time we gambled at all. Mm-hmm. Was that one blackjack table?
Listen, we had
at the Mirage.
We had the opportunity to waste our sorrows away with drinks and gambling, and somehow we didn't.
Yeah. We just bounced around and saw a bunch of different people. Yeah. Z from NYC, thank you very much for that subscription with Prime. We'll make sure that we gamble that away next time we're in Vegas.
I so bad did want to just put like $100 on black. See what happens.
Just started betting on DraftKings over the weekend. Can't get myself to bet more than $5 on a game. I have bet sports twice in my whole life. Once was back in the day when it was still illegal. I put in a bet with a bookie for a Seton Hall Georgetown game.
I think you're going to get arrested now.
And I just didn't enjoy the experience of watching my team
and your money
and my money lose. Like, that sucked. And I lost by 1 point or something. Like, it was a free throw that was missed at the end of the game. And I was like, you know what? watching this Seton Hall game was tough enough as it was. I didn't need to lose money while I did it. Then last year, when I went to the Raiders-Chiefs game in Vegas, my brother and I put some bets together at the sports book before we went. Lost all of them.
It seems like the consensus is saying you never bet on your own team.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna. If I
want to do a parlay mainly because it's so fun to say parlay like
Jack Sparrow. Yeah, I think that's the thing. If I bet sports again, I'm going to bet
Rutgers
on teams I don't like.
Although,
when my friend Steve, who runs the Roosevelts along with my friend T, when he was in Vegas before the 2020 college basketball season, he collected money from our Seton Hall group chat and put it all on Seton Hall winning the national championship. And oddly enough, that postseason got canceled, so he just got all the money back.
That's cool.
I think he may have given it back to me. I'm not 100% sure. Either way. I think he has to go. I think he actually has to just go to Vegas to collect it.
Shut up.
Because you made the bet in Vegas, you've got to be there to collect your money.
Well, we could have got it.
We could have.
And then doubled it down, doubled everybody's money.
So maybe I'll get into sports betting, but I just have to keep it away from teams that I enjoy. Like, I am an emotional disaster during Seton Hall basketball games. I don't think I can bet on them unless I bet on them to lose, which would then balance it out, right? Like, I'm mad that my team lost, but I made $100. I don't know. Is that the...
What?
What?
Lisa said, I was reading something about how someone placed a $50 bet on DraftKings for a Houston-Philly World Series back in April. If they win their $50 bet wins $125,000.
That's crazy. Good for them. Texas Chris said, one year I want to follow college basketball closely all year and go to Vegas the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. I know we know some people from here that do that.
Who?
Matt. He goes every year.
Maddie?
From sports? No, Slickhawk.
Oh.
He goes every year. He does that. He blocks out, takes off of work, whatever, and goes down that first weekend. All right, moving on, though. Blackjack is out of the way. When we were young is out of the way. This actually happened as we were going live today.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know.
Adidas cut ties with the Crazy Man.
But I thought they couldn't.
According to him, while he was on Drink Champs, they could do nothing. And I decided I'm not even going to refer to him by name anymore.
That's fine.
And it's an artist that I used to really enjoy listening to. Like, really, really enjoy listening to. Some of my favorite albums come from that artist. But at this point, he is just a lunatic.
Yep.
And yeah, you know what? He's got some mental issues, but he chooses to not address them. And he chooses to not put in the work that could be done.
Mm-hmm. Imagine paying people whatever you pay them, millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars to be a part of your life, a part of your team, and not actually them have your back.
Yeah. Where was it?
Oh, wait. So what did Adidas say? Did you even look into it?
Yeah. I mean, they literally said it in there.
Saw everyone was losing their minds.
So there was, I know Jen said this. Jen said it took way too long to come to that conclusion. And here's where I stand on that. I think, yes, it would have been ideal if right away Adidas said, hey, we're done.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
They probably had to look into the legality.
I think that's
I'm still not happy about it. Like, I don't know that I'm going to buy Adidas as my next sneakers. I'm glad I've been switching to New Balance.
No, I think at some point you go, there are legal ramifications to this. There are financial ramifications to this. And it takes some people to look at everything and say, are we protected if we do this? And I'm sure he can still try to sue any of the companies that dropped him. Whether it's his music company, the movie companies he was working with, Adidas, whoever else. I'm sure there will be lawsuits coming down soon. But, yeah, it would have been great if everything happened on the same day. But it didn't. It did happen, though.
And a lot of people are like, social media got him canceled. It's like...
No, he got himself canceled.
Yeah. Like...
He used social media to get himself canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is all on him.
Listen.
That's it.
There are people that don't deserve to be quote-unquote canceled. And like we've said, no one ever actually gets canceled. He's still going to have all this money. He still has an entire fan base of people that will support him and buy whatever he does. That's why no one will truly ever be canceled and
Yeah.
exiled to some island where no one's around and they have no money. That's
Well,
not how that works.
Here's the thing.
But you don't get to have a platform with major companies that regular people support when you're going to be saying hateful things.
Yeah. I think there is a chance that Kanye actually makes more money after this is all said and done.
You
If
said
he
this.
continues to make his clothing and his sneakers, and obviously he'll have to find a team overseas somewhere that produces everything for him. But if he doesn't have to split that with Adidas or Gap or Balenciaga or any of the other companies that he works with,
Right.
he could end up making more money. So I don't know if this matters. And yeah, Adidas did claim that they're going to take possibly a $250 million loss by cutting ties, which is why I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt. They had a big decision to make. That decision impacts other people's employment because it impacts their bottom
I'm sure
line.
there's an entire department that works on his.
There's a whole lot of, there's probably people who just worked on the Yeezy line who now are probably like, well, my job is gone. So even though it would have been ideal.
So do we all buy Adidas now?
No. Even though it would have been ideal for them to cut ties with him the second he said his terrible things, it happened.
Yeah.
It's what a lot of people wanted to happen. It happened. Sometimes those things take a little longer due to the financial and legal ramifications of those decisions. Like me deciding to never buy Adidas again or never buy a Yeezy product, I can make that in a split second, right? And I could go back on my word later and no one's gonna care. Adidas has to make a very different decision. So would have been nice, but here we are.
Yeah, and now what happens, like, with the divorce? There's no way that man gets custody of their children.
Yeah, probably not. Texas Chris said something interesting. He said not dropping that man could have cost Adidas even more money.
In the long run.
I actually disagree.
I don't know.
Only because he has so many stans. He has so many people that love him and will buy sneakers and buy his merchandise.
But he would have been like, oh, buy directly from me. Don't buy those.
No, I would say it's like the My Pillow guy. There were people who went out and bought My Pillow pillows.
They're not even that great.
As like their form of protest or support or whatever.
But that's his company.
Yes.
You're still supporting another company while supporting him.
Let's see. Lenny from Queens said Adidas stocks jumped a little after the announcement. That's good to know. And yeah, you know what? Kanye does, or damn, I said his name. That crazy person does need help. But at the same time, they've had every opportunity to get help.
Well, so
they have all the resources in the world to get help.
And also his supporters need help.
Yeah. But I don't feel bad when people say like, oh, well, he's got issues. He does. But you know what? There are a lot of people with issues in the world. And there are a lot of people with issues who don't have the means to not necessarily remedy it, but to fight the issue. And they don't do the things he does. I think his resources are one of the reasons that he is so insane.
Like the guy on Twitter yesterday who I was fighting with.
Oh, yeah.
He told me I should probably be silent because iHeartRadio could fire me.
This is a great question from Soira, who said, now, Anthony, I know you're more of a music Kanye fan. Will you still listen to his music? Oh, I said his name again. God. That's tough. I haven't.
It's not even good.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
It's not. It's boring. It's actually boring.
The College Dropout is a boring album?
Yeah. And when I thank God I didn't pay. I went to that stupid show that he had here where, like, he had his mental breakdown about Jay-Z. We got to be there for it. Big whoop. And they had this stupid, like, stage where he thought he was, like, God or an alien sucking in all of his little idiot minions, and the stage went over the crowd with lights, and people were like, and Anthony was one of them, was like, following it around. I was like, the fuck am I watching?
That concert was awesome.
Oh, it was terrible. I couldn't wait to leave.
You're terrible. I can't wait for you to leave. No, I really do think, especially a lot of his earlier music is some of the best hip hop that's been out. I think the album that he did with Jay-Z, one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. And that tour was incredible. I saw that tour 3 times.
But when was that? That was probably 2017?
No, it was the concert we went to? Yeah, 2017, 2018. So yeah, 2018 says Mishi. I don't know. If it came on, like I have some of his songs on different playlists. If it came on, would I skip it? I don't know. Because he does get a couple cents every time I play it.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe we should download it illegally off Napster.
Yeah. Go
like
to Kazaa.
remix to Ignition.
Go to Kazaa. Go to Bear Share and download the entire, whatever his name is, album. But yeah, his first couple albums I listened to all the time. And some of his newer stuff. Life of Pablo, great album.
But now I want to see if radio stops playing his music.
Let's see. Mikey0875 said 2011 was when he did the tour with Jay-Z, and I hate to admit it, but it was amazing. That tour was really, really good. I mean, I saw it 3 times. 2 times? 3 times? Either way, I saw it a lot.
Someone in here said Josh Gad posted something. Great.
Okay.
Josh Gad, also known as Olaf in Frozen.
Okay.
If you're unsure who that is. And it's this whole
You're
post.
going to read that whole thing?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But he talks about how his grandparents would always tell him never forget because he's Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, he says his mental illness, the person we're not mentioning, is not an excuse for his neo-Nazi propaganda.
Exactly.
I have friends who are bipolar. They don't suffer from vile bigotry and hate. I have stood with many again and again over the course of my life. My people are now under attack in a very disturbing and real way. Silence is no longer an option, not when Nazi salutes are happening on the 405. Speak out now and speak out loudly, lest we forget.
Yeah. And this is all obviously coming off the heels of his anti-Semitic remarks. And then I think where Adidas finally got their out, which was about a week ago, was when he went on the podcast with Nori, Drink Champs, and essentially said,
Noriega?
Yeah, that's his podcast. And he said, I can say anti-Semitic, and then he cursed, and Adidas can't do anything. And he said it twice. And he basically said, like, now what? Like, what are you going to do?
That podcast.
It's like, listen, at some point, you test a corporation enough, and you're going to feel their wrath.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Oh, well, let's call him Voldemort. I kind of like that.
I don't watch Harry Potter.
Are we still live? Oh, yeah, it's past 9 o'clock, and we're still live. We still have, let's see. I know we actually got everything on the list, right?
Oh,
When
my
we
God.
were young,
Speaking of,
Blackjack Champs, Adidas cuts ties with the Crazy Man, the Yankees broke our heart, and obviously listen to the Morning Show podcast.
Claire said, what do you think about the new Taylor Swift? So we landed in Vegas Thursday night, right as the album dropped, and we listened in the taxi for a little bit, and then I listened a little bit on Friday morning and some yesterday on the airplane. Not enough. I need to fully give it a real listen, and I'm actually going to give this album time because what I've heard so far, I do enjoy, and Folklore was not my jam, so I'm happy to have this.
Yeah. Life is a Hike said the interview on Drink Champs was so bad that Nori apologized for having him on. Here's what I did appreciate about...
But didn't they have to release? They took some of it out and then said, actually, here it is.
No, from what I understand, and I've listened to large portions of the podcast. I haven't listened to the whole thing. It is a great podcast, though. What I appreciated about that podcast was that it was not edited. Because when he went on a couple days before that with Tucker Carlson, Tucker's team cut out all of the worst things that he said and presented him to be a little more stable.
Well, because
than
that's
he was.
not a news talk show.
And that was my problem with it was if you want to give this guy a platform, give him the platform in his entirety and let people see who he is. And I actually appreciated that Drink Champs did that because if it wasn't for that podcast, we most likely wouldn't be here today with the headline that Adidas cut ties with the Crazy Man. If it was still Tucker Carlson-esque interviews where they just cut out the worst parts, then we wouldn't be here. So I understand Nori making the apology because he was on Ebro in the Morning on Hot 97. He was on The Breakfast Club. He was on every platform. Like, yeah, the guy said some wild, terrible things on my show, and that sucks because that's my platform that he essentially
like you don't
hijacked.
support it, but it's also at the same time, it's like you get into this weird position of like, I don't support this. I don't want this on my platform. I don't believe in this. But at some point, we need to show who this person is.
And
That's tough.
I think when it's all said and done, all of the changes that we've seen from CAA to Adidas to all the different companies that have dropped him, I don't think any of them would have dropped him if it wasn't for that.
No, I agree.
I think it gave him the opportunity to really show, outside of a quick tweet or Instagram post, it gave the world an opportunity to see how unhinged he has become.
I did see a message in there. I think it was Angela in Spokane said, "Is it true that they've stopped teaching the Holocaust in some schools?"
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a news article. This wasn't anything. This was my own research that I started doing and was shocked by. So my niece, who is 19, was doing my nails a few months ago because that's what she went to school for. And we were talking something about the Holocaust, and she was like, yeah, we didn't have that. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Like, when 7th grade, you have Mrs. Fisher, and she does the whole marking period talking about the Holocaust, and then they would bring the Holocaust survivor to talk to all of us. That cute, like, little old man. He was so friendly. And so, like, I remember.
Was it the same person that came in every year?
I don't think he's still alive anymore. And I remember, like, being in 7th grade and crying, listening to this man speak. And that's, when you're 13 or 12, like, those are still emotions that you're trying to understand. Like, why am I crying when this man is talking? She was like, nope, never had that. I was like, what was going on? So then my sister's there, and she's like, what do you mean, Krista? You didn't learn that? She's like, the only thing I know about the Holocaust is you guys talking about it in this family. And I was like, okay. So then I start posting about this, and my friend Tatum is like, there's no way. Like, she grew up going to school here in Washington. She's like, there's no way. My sister's in middle school or high school now. Let me ask her. Same thing. No, they had some book that they were supposed to read on their own. That was it. So it's not actually being
interesting
taught and you remember, I felt like we learned about it every year.
Yeah, almost every year. Or we read a book, or we did something, watched a movie. Somehow we learned about it.
So just a heads up to parents: maybe check in with your kids. It's maybe something that you might want to tell them about. Maybe books to read.
Jess from Minnesota said, in my German middle school and high school, we had to study parts of it pretty much every year. To this day, they still take students to memorials or concentration camps.
Oh wow.
Cancel culture, canceled Holocaust curriculums.
Yeah.
That is a very hard sentence to say. I would ask, so I have 2 little cousins who are still in middle school and elementary school.
In Florida?
I would ask them, but they're in Florida, so I'm going to assume that was probably one of the first states that took that out of the curriculum.
If it's a state. Well, for them, maybe. Like New Jersey?
Usually things are statewide, I think.
Like, as much as New Jersey is still a very liberal state, as much as people like to be like, oh, New Jersey's blah, blah, whatever.
So let's actually,
although learning about the Holocaust shouldn't be a liberal thing. It's history.
So let's do a quick homework assignment for everyone. On Thursday, when we are back here, if you've got kids who are in school, regardless of what year they are in, ask them, and maybe you know this off the top of your head, ask them if they still learn about the Holocaust, about World War II, about the Holocaust, all of those things. Let's see. Angela said the first I learned about it was in 3rd grade. I think it took us till middle school, probably, to learn about it.
Makes sense.
I don't know.
Angela said, I'm confused. Why would Florida or red states not want the Holocaust to be taught in schools? Someone please help me remember the representative's name who was saying that the Holocaust wasn't real.
I think that was from Tennessee.
The Holocaust wasn't real and we shouldn't be teaching it in schools was his whole thing that he was running on. It's like, come on, dude.
Oh, yeah, maybe in middle school we read some parts of, like, Anne Frank's diary.
Yep.
Or maybe that was middle school.
We had to, like, make our own diaries if it was Anne Frank, which is fucking weird.
That's a weird assignment, but...
Was it Josh Crawley?
Well, he's Iowa, but I don't really know. I mean, DeSantis' whole thing, and not to get super political, this is really about education, is he wanted to, like, remove wokeness, whatever wokeness is, from the school curriculum. So things like slavery wouldn't be taught as much anymore or at all. And I think the Holocaust was part of that. Let's see. Does anyone have kids in school that know if they are learning or not learning about the Holocaust?
I have friends who are Jewish who have kids that are contemplating moving out of America.
I mean,
Like, that's how scary it is.
I don't know if it's much better elsewhere,
Well, that's what they're saying.
which is sad.
Well, this is 31 states don't require schools. That's not saying it's banned. Don't require.
Okay, so let's see. Mike says in Connecticut they do teach it. Becky from Miami says, I have a senior and a third grader. So, Becky, can you...
My kids have not learned about it.
Oh, they have not. Okay, I just saw the message up there.
Oh, New Jersey.
I'm just looking through the comments, so sorry that we're just sitting here staring at the screen.
Yeah.
Either way, let's have everyone do a little homework assignment, talk to your kids or talk to your friends' kids, see if they are or are not learning in any capacity about the Holocaust. It doesn't have to be every year.
No.
But just to see if there is ever a lesson. Diana said, I live in Miami, Florida. My daughters were taught about the Holocaust in middle school. So there's a Florida one. So maybe it's just district to district or school to school. And then Erica said, I went to school in Connecticut and learned it a lot, but I'm also 40. Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of us, if you're a little older, learned about it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also as we get older, there is more history to be taught, right? Like, we weren't learning about 9/11 and the war that came after it. At some point, not necessarily, things don't have to be cut, but maybe they are shortened.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But I feel like I learned about Thanksgiving every year and Christopher Columbus every year. And it's like...
And then the other thing to think about, I guess, is a lot of our teachers probably lived through some part of World War II or the immediate aftermath of World War II.
And now the teachers lived through 9/11.
Yeah. So things are obviously going to change. It doesn't mean we have to eliminate really important, historical events, terrible historical events from history books. So we are going to get out of here. It is 9:15. Thank you very much to everyone who supported us this morning through the Boost train. We did get to level 5, so we took our shot from Seattle Cocktail Club. We are out of here. Carla Marie, any last words?
Yeah, hold on. Let me think. Oh, tonight,
yes,
I'm going to a book signing, and I've never been to a book signing in my life.
I used to go to them all the time as a kid.
I know, at Ridgewood, whatever.
Bookends in Ridgewood.
This person was there, and it sold out.
Was it in Ridgewood? You should ask him about it. Ask him if he liked Ridgewood as a town.
Phil Rosenthal from Somebody Feed Phil is coming to Seattle tonight. I bought the book. I bought my pass. I'm going to wait in line and be like, Phil, we talked on Instagram. Here's a You Look Great beanie. I'm going to give him one.
So before, obviously, Everyone Feeds Phil is a show on Netflix.
Excuse me.
What?
Somebody Feed Phil.
Somebody Feed Phil is a show on Netflix. And the reason I said everybody is because he is more famously known. And the reason he was able to do this Netflix show, because he is also the executive producer of Everybody Loves Raymond.
He's a writer.
Writer, executive producer, head creative person, along with Ray. How's his actual name?
Ray Romano.
Ray Romano. So
I'm so excited.
That's the guy.
But I'm like, I feel like anytime I've ever met a celebrity or an artist or whatever, it was them coming to a show that we did, right? So it was like, not that you have this upper hand, but like, oh, they're there to have a conversation with you about this platform. I'm literally going to this event and I'm like, sign my book. I'm so excited.
Do you have the book?
No, you get it at the bookstore.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pumped.
Oh, Vicky, one last comment. My 22-year-old cousin said they learned a lot about the Holocaust and even spoke to survivors in 4th or 5th grade.
Okay.
Went to school in New Jersey. All right, so it's not dead everywhere. The lessons are not dead everywhere.
There you go.
What?
Choice of words.
The lessons, the teaching of it. Thank you very much for hanging with us. We will see you on Thursday. Time to rest our voices.
Oh, yeah. Medicine balls. If you're a horse and enjoy this podcast,
Maybe you should listen to the Morning Show podcast, Carla Marie.
when did you say that?